Welcome to our kitchen. Tonight we are making a delicious creamy tomato basil soup. And this is a really simple recipe, and you can make it for just pennies. We're going to be using celery and tomatoes and onions, celery and carrots and onions, and also tomatoes, of course. And we're using basil and oregano, and we're going to have butter and a Worcestershire sauce and
homemade chicken broth?
Yes, homemade chicken broth, and I think that's everything. Yes, we're also going to be making some grilled cheese to go with it. So let's get started.
Okay.
I think we're going to start with cutting the onions, so I think I'm going to do that. And how we do our onions, with this soup we're going to be blending it later, so I'm going to chop it really roughly. So I'm just going to peel off this fuzzy root end and chop off that root end. And then I'm going to cut off this, this papery stuff at this end, which is the stem, and cut all that off. Get rid of that. And then I'm going to put it right side up like this and cut it straight down the middle. And then I'm just going to chop this really roughly because we're going to be...
Don't you want to take off that?
That is, yes, I do need to do that.
And she's going to also go ahead and take off kind of the first layer of
onion.
First layer of onion, because it's kind of papery and it's not appealing. Now, Rachel is a lefty, so we're going to make room for her leftiness.
Thank you.
See, she's just cutting this in really big chunks because it's not a big deal what size they are, because we're about to start sauteing them, and then later we're going to blend this soup up. So I turned on the Instant Pot over here on saute. It's one of the best features of the Instant Pot is that it can saute, but where's the key form? Cancel. Okay, putting it on saute, and then I'm going to adjust it to more, which is kind of like high pressure, and then not high pressure. Sorry, like high on a stove. You've got your low, medium, high, and on the Instant Pot it's less
heat.
Less normal and more. And then we're going to go ahead and put half a stick of butter. That's 4 tablespoons of butter in there. So delicious. And now Elijah's going to cut up that carrot.
So the first thing you do when cutting a carrot is peel off all the skin.
And what are you peeling that into, Elijah?
Our trash bowl.
And what do we do with the trash?
We use it for broth.
So we keep a bag of onion ends and pieces, and celery ends and pieces, and carrot ends and pieces in a bag in the freezer. And then when we're ready to make our homemade chicken broth, which we make all the time, we just go to the freezer and grab a couple handfuls of those vegetable peelings and throw them in the Instant Pot for broth making. You're doing a great job, Elijah.
So next he's going to cut off the ends. That's probably good. He's just going to chop off the ends there.
Nice for the ends.
And we want to get rid of all of that bad root ends and the stem ends. And then he's just going to chop it in some large chunks to saute. And here's your bowl.
You can also cut it down the center.
Okay, you forgot something. What'd you forget?
Cut glove. And we use our cut gloves so that it can help protect from getting cut and everything. You might want to put that on the other hand.
Okay, so I do, as a mom, I always have to remind the kids to follow their knife safety rules because we're still in a learning phase. So we remind each other and we slow down. Elijah, I want you to slow down. Okay, stop right now. Do you need to switch to the other knife?
Maybe.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, so our onion is,
I can start working on this.
you can work on that one. Awesome. Our
Butter is browning.
our butter is browning, yes. And it's even kind of popping a little bit here.
That's probably good,
I'm going to
Elijah.
go ahead and put this onion in.
Get out the other knife.
And I need the salt.
These salts. Oh, it's over there.
And so this onion is going to start sauteing, and then the carrot. And we're just going to lightly saute these. We're just going to lightly saute the onion, carrot, and celery. All right, throw that carrot in.
Abigail's going
There
to
you
come
go.
and chop up the celery for us.
Abigail's going to show you how we chop up the celery. Go ahead and use that larger knife, Abigail.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we use this combination of the onion, carrot, and celery a lot in our cooking because it's a very basic combination that adds tons of flavor to soups and stews and casseroles. It's just fabulous, and you'll find it listed a lot of times in recipes. It's also known as the mirepoix. But it's a combination. If you want great flavor in your food, then start with carrots, onions, and celery.
So Abigail's quickly rough chopping that, and she's going to do the other one, and then we'll toss that in.
So when you're dicing vegetables, you need to make them a lot smaller pieces. But since we're going to be blending this all up, then we don't need to worry about dicing it really fine, right?
Right, because we are going to be blending this when we are done. So Abigail, you can go ahead and toss those in. We're just going to lightly saute those. And we are going to be...
Garlic.
Yes, oh yes, Abigail's going to chop up the garlic. We're doing 8 cloves of garlic tonight because we love garlic.
So the written recipe calls for 4 to 6 cloves of garlic, but since we love garlic so much, we're going to choose 8, and you can choose anywhere along in that range of the number of cloves of garlic because garlic makes soup really yummy.
Yes.
And especially tomato basil, it's going to be fabulous, and it's going to smell amazing.
So Abigail's busting off 8 cloves of garlic off of this bulb, and then we're going to smash them with a meat mallet so that it just helps break up the skin, so it's a lot easier to peel them. And Mommy's grabbing the meat mallet. So Abigail's going to use the knife in a pinch, and here comes the meat mallet. So that's just
Don't bang the knife.
a great way to peel those because it's always so sticky and hard to peel when we're using when we're not smashing them. And we're gonna I'll help you peel this. We're just pulling off the peel, sticking them back on the board.
They're so sticky.
Yes, even with
very
smashing them, it's hard to pull it off. So we just do it as quickly as possible, and yeah.
And we also try to keep that garlic paper out of our food because it's trash and you don't want to find that in the food, right?
Right.
Yes,
It's not appetizing.
I don't want
Then she's gonna chop them up
I'm
with
gonna move this right here.
that. And this is a favorite for little kids to do.
I would do a little bit finer than
Hey
that.
Elijah, would you mind stirring the onions for us?
Okay.
So the onions are probably sauteed enough, right?
Yes, the onions, everything's pretty much as soon as we put the garlic in, we are going to add the rest of the ingredients and turn it on.
Yes. I will add this. And we are using, for this recipe, 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes and 14 and a half ounces of diced tomatoes. We are using basil, garlic, and oregano, but you can use any diced tomatoes that you have on hand. And Elijah, do you want to just go ahead and dump those in? And we're going to put in 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce after Elijah finishes that.
I'll take those cans. Little ones like 6 or 7, 8 years old maybe can be really a big help at opening cans and going to get cans out of the pantry. Even Lydia, who's not quite 4, can walk into the pantry and find the canned tomatoes and be a big help. And I have found that if you will let your little children, even though it takes a lot longer to cook a meal with them helping, if you will let them help while they're young, that helps their heart want to help more when they're older, which is a huge blessing.
Yes. And then we're going to add 1 quart of chicken broth, and we make our own, but you can use any can that you have or anything else that you have. And we're going to add another half a teaspoon of salt, correct?
Yes.
And if your broth is salted, you don't have to add this, and you can just add at the end if you feel like you need it. Oh, and then we're going to add our basil and oregano. We are putting in a teaspoon of dried oregano, and this looks like a tablespoon of dried basil. And then you can stir that up, Elijah. And I think that's everything for our grilled cheese, and we can set
Everything for
it.
our tomato basil.
Yes, everything for our tomato basil soup. And I'm going to turn off the saute and press soup and turn it down to 5 minutes at high pressure. And then with this model, we're just going to wait, and it will start automatically. And Elijah, you can put the lid on that. Take that. And then, oh yes, and we have to check the valve and make sure it's on sealing. And if your Instant Pot is just steaming and steaming throughout it, it might be because your valve is on venting, and you'll just have to turn it that way, and that will work, and do that. And it says on, so we are good, and this is going.
Awesome.
And Miriam's gonna come and help us with our grilled cheese. So for our grilled cheese, we have bread, and as you can see, we have pre-buttered them. And Miriam's going to slice the cheese for us. You can use your pre-sliced cheese or anything else that you have. We're using cheddar. She's going to take these slices off. And we have our griddle at 300. She's just cutting those off with our slicer. And I'll take these. You're going to do another 2 slices since we're doing 2 sandwiches. And hey, Lydia, do you want to come and help us put the cheese on the bread?
So, do we normally only make 2 sandwiches, Rachel?
No, we do not. We make a lot more than this, but it would just take too long, so we're just going to do a couple here. So, Miriam's finishing up with that. Lydia. Oh, we're doing our cheese a little thick on the thick side. We just like it like that. You can do it any slice you want. That's just your personal preference. And hey, Lydia, do you want to put this slice on the griddle? We're going to do 2 sandwiches.
Remember the griddle is hot,
Yes,
so
the
just
griddle is hot.
toss it on there. Butter side down. So move that right there.
We're going to put the other one here. And Lydia, do you want to put the cheese on? Here, Miriam, you can put that cheese on the other one.
Right here.
Here, you can do
I'll
it
turn it that way.
sideways. There.
There you go.
And now we can put the lids on.
Can you pick it up?
We're going to put the butter up on this time.
The butter on top. There you go.
So we're just going to let this sit for a minute. We love making grilled cheese. It's just a delicious sandwich, and it goes so well with our tomato basil soup. And we're just going to let this sit and brown. And
grilled cheese is one of my favorite comfort foods. So good.
I'm going to bring over our other pot that we pre-made so that we could show you how we blend it.
What if we put that up here?
Oh yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. I'll go Vitamix up here.
Okay, so we're going to use our Vitamix. It's not quite done yet, Mary.
So this is a pot of this.
This is a pot of the soup. We just made it beforehand so that we wouldn't have to wait on that to release. And as you can see, it's got a lot of chunks in it. And we're just going to blend it in our blender back here. We're going to add some cream, and then we'll taste it for salt and pepper and stuff.
So this is,
Are you looking for this?
no. This is really hot.
Yes.
So you want to make sure you're being really careful pouring this in. And I'm going to, so don't let the kids do this one. And if you have an immersion blender, that is what tool that you're going to want to use.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going
So I'm
to
going to put this here. Is that going to reach? One moment. Okay.
So we're going to bring it up here and turn it on so the blue light is on.
The lid.
Where did the lid go? Oh, it's back there. Can you grab it, please?
Okay. And
Do you want me to come up to the front and do that?
well, I'll do it. I think
Okay.
I can do it from here.
Okay.
That's cool.
Do you want to flip these?
Turn it up. We're going to turn it up and blend it all the way up. So now I need a bowl to pour this into.
Oh, a big bowl?
A big bowl to pour this into.
Okay. Here's a bowl that you can pour it in to serve it later.
That's for
But
later.
yes. Here, let me grab one.
Rachel's grabbing a big bowl to pour this into because we still have a little bit left. We have to do another batch.
Here you go.
All right.
So this is still very hot, so we're just letting the mom take care of that. And we're going to do the second batch. And there's not that much in that batch. And you might have to do several batches. If you have an immersion blender, you don't have to deal with all of that. But she's just going to blend that up. Do you want to put these on the plates? They're delicious and golden brown. Awesome. Here, I'll put them. And we're going to look at this delicious soup. We're going to pour it back into the pot just to serve from. And have we added our cream yet? Oh, this is my favorite part. We are adding 1 cup of cream to this batch. You can add 2 if you want. It's just your personal preference. We're just going to pour it in, stir it up.
I love how it swirls in there.
That's probably good.
Cream is yum.
And that is your creamy tomato basil soup in the Instant Pot. We're just going
Okay,
to,
let's have a little taste test.
yes. Gonna move this over here. Here it is.
Okay, hold on. It's so hot, I'm gonna add a little ice to cool it off so she can actually taste it and not hurt herself.
So this was super simple, super easy, very, very cheap. It's just super great for families and everything.
And it's a lot better for you than the canned version and a
That's
lot less
delicious.
expensive than the restaurant version.
That is really good. Very pleased with how that turned out. And thank you for watching. If you have any friends or family members who would benefit from watching this, or if you like what you see here, you can share this with your friends and family, and you can look at the recipe and learn more about us and the Instant Pot and everything. And we love seeing families cook and enjoy great meals together. So thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.